كيف حالكم? We're still continuing with lesson number 20. إن شاء الله سنكمل هذا الدرس اليوم. إن شاء الله we'll complete this lesson today. نعم. أين وقفنا? I think I gave you this exercise التدريب الثامن عشر as a homework, right? هل فعلتم? Did you guys do it? Let's see. You can give me the verbs and then let's see if we got them right. So what is the past tense of sami'a? I gave you the past tense, didn't I? Subhanallah. So the past tense of yasma'u is sami'a. Now how do I know that? So here in the present tense we have yasma'u. And how do I know to put kasra in the meme in the past tense? Who can tell me? Because everything else it has a pattern, right? You have the mudare, harful mudare, then you will have a sukun, and the ending will have a dhamma. So only issue we have is with the middle letter, right? The letter will remain the same, but we need to know what haraka do we put them. Yes, so we have to learn it. There's nothing else. We have to learn it. Sami'a yasma'u. Okay, so that's how we know it. Yes, and if you don't know it, you use the dictionary. Yes. You have to know there's some, inshallah, one of these days I have to talk to you about dictionaries because that's not easy. There are many types of dictionaries. You have to know how to use them. Not all the dictionaries will give you the things that you're looking for. Some of them will just give you the meaning. Others will give you the past, present, and many other things. Jayyid. So it means, what is samia means to hear, right? So what is the command verb? This one for the masculine. What is the command verb for the masculine? Isma. Yes, good. So we have hamzatul wasl. I'm just going to explain one more time, because I've been explaining that so many times. So the way we make the command verb is we start from the present tense, right? We start from the present tense. And as we start from the present tense, we remove the present tense letter. Okay, so we have sin, mim, and ain. So sin had a sukun, mim had a fatha, and ain had a dhamma, but what do? We put a sukun at the end. Okay, so now we know that we need hamzatul wasl because we have a sukun. So we put hamzatul wasl. Now what do we put on hamzatul wasl? Do we put fatha, dhamma, and kasra? And I mentioned to you that the fatha, most of the time you don't have to worry about. The fatha we don't put. So we have to decide between the kasra or the dhamma. Answer that he gave me was with the kasra. How do you know to put kasra? We look at what? We look at the same letter that has been giving us all the trouble. Okay, so as you can see right now, the middle letter is extremely important. And when we say the middle letter, the letter is going to stay the same all the time. We are talking about the haraka. This haraka is extremely important. So this haraka will tell us what to do. If we have a fatha or kasra, just think about this way. If we have a dhamma, we put dhamma on the wasl, hamzatul wasl. For other haraka like fatha and kasra, we put kasra. Okay, so the default you can think that we want to put a kasra. Only time we put a dhamma when we have a dhamma in the middle letter. Jayid? Yes, so it's isma. So now who can quickly give me how do we command to a female? Isma'i. Yes, ahsant. Isma'i. Okay, that's it. As you can see, the command verbs, they have a rule. We can follow the rules. The only problem we have is to find out past and the present, in particularly about the haraka of the middle letter. Jayyid. So the next one we have yadkhulu. Yes, to enter. Good. So what is the past tense? Dakhala. Yes. Dakhala. Excellent. Dakhala yadkhulu. Sami'a yasma'u. Most basic thing that you have to memorize is the past and present. Command verb, you can make them in most verbs. Not all of the some verbs are tricky, but most verbs you can make the command verbs if you know the rules. Okay, so this one, who can quickly give me what is the command verb for the masculine? Dakhala yadkhulu. What do we say? Udkhul. Excellent. That's what I'm looking for. So we have everything we start from the present tense verb. We remove this one, right? And we copy all the haraka, and we know we have to bring hamzatul wasl. What do we put? We put dhamma, because here is the case. This is the only time we put dhamma. So we say udkhul. We have to put sukun here. Udkhul. Jayyid. And how do we say to a female? It would be udkhuli. Excellent. Udkhuli. I'm not going to do all of them, just let's ask few of them. I just want to make sure you know the past tense. So I'm going to be asking the past tense of all of them. So what is the past tense of yaghsilu? These you have to memorize, like these are super simple verbs and come so often. Yes, ghasala. So we have ghasala. Okay, so we have ghasala yaghsilu irsil. Okay, irsil. And then we have irsili. Here's one thing you guys make sure you guys never do, which is don't put hamza on this hamzatul wasl. Okay, if you put hamza here, you know, this is not a silly mistake, this is a big mistake, because then you're talking about another verb. The meaning can change and many things can happen. Now, so what is the past tense of yash? Okay, so first of all, tell me if anybody knows what haraka goes here, because they didn't put the haraka. So let's see if you guys know. When you look at this verb, you know what this verb is, right? What is the meaning of this verb first? Tell me if you know the meaning. Yes, to drink. Excellent. So do you know? Okay, can you tell me the past tense first? Shariba. Yes, good. Shariba. So what did you tell me the haraka for this one was? Hmm? The reason why I asked you about the past tense, because I'm going to mention something. That's where the problem is. You're saying that here is a kasra. So number one, it's wrong because we have to memorize it, right? That's one way of looking at it. We have to memorize. Shariba yashrabu. But another thing I want to mention, remember I told you the most of the time we don't have any ways of knowing what's going to happen. But there are some tools we can use. And one of them is if the past tense has a kasra. If the past tense has a kasra, the present tense, 99 or 95% of the time, it will be a fatha. So shariba yashrabu. So this is one technique we can use. For example, we have sami'a yasma'u. I'm pretty sure there's some exception, but that is like majority of the time. Jayyid. So again, by looking at this verb right now, because I told you guys, most of the time they don't put haraka. You have to recognize just by looking at the letters. Okay, so when you look at these letters, what verb do you think and what is the meaning? Just give me the meaning. What do you think the verb is? It is a simple verb, kataba, right? To write. Yes, to write. Okay, so kataba, because this verb comes all the time. Kataba. Now, in this situation, when the past tense has a fatha, now you have I don't think there's any, I mean, in advanced books of grammar, they talk about, to guess something, what's going to be in the present tense. But honestly, in this stage, you don't know. If the past tense has a fatha, you just have to know, you have to memorize what's the present tense. Okay. So here, what do we put in the present tense? Kataba, yak, huh? What is the haraka? That's the whole thing. Kataba, yak, tubu. Kataba, yak, tubu. Yes, kataba, yak, tubu. Good, excellent. Yeah, no, that's fine because what's gonna happen, I'll be honest with you because I've been studying for a long time. I pretend as if things are easy. Honestly, I don't want to pretend because I suffered a lot with this language. It's not easy, but I can tell you the mistakes that I've done so that you don't fall into the same issue. Because what used to happen, these verbs are common, right? Everybody see them, we hear them, we know what it means. When we look at it, we know it's about to write and we can guess the meaning. And I never used to pay too much attention, like who cares fata dama kasra, as long as I know what the word means. That carried for a long time, and it took me a long time to realize how important these haraka are harakas are, because you will see different form, it can have a different forms. Then I realized we have to pay attention from the beginning. And the good old days, the way they used to memorize, there are a lot of virtues. Just memorize. You memorize, memorize, memorize. Okay, so at this stage, it's really memorization is the key. So quickly here, the command verb for yash rabu would be what? Ish rab. Ish rab. And ishrabi, right? And here would be what? Somebody just give me the whole command verb. Let me make it harder. Give me the command verb for female. Exactly. So uk to be. Uk to be. Exactly. So number one, yeah, which you guys are picking up. Excellent. Number two is this dhamma. Okay, so these are the few things that you have to be aware of. Jayid. So we have yadrusu, and the present tense is darasa, right? Darasa, yadrusu, udrus, udrusi. Okay. Okay, so I will give you one past tense and you have to give me the present tense. Okay. Okay, so fariha. What is fariha? Do you know what fariha means? It means to be happy. To be happy. Okay, so fariha. Now someone give me the present tense verb for fariha. Who can give me? Yafrahu. How did you know? I never gave you this verb before. Did you know about this verb before? Did you memorize before? You took the 90% chance. Yes. So this is exactly what I explained to you. When the past tense has a kasra, you can use your 90% guess that it would be a fatha on the present tense verb. Fariha yafrahu. Yes. Yafrahu. Okay, excellent. I think you guys are doing fine. So please, some of these things are just memorization, and the verbs are super, super important, guys. You have to be on top of the verbs. Now we have التدريب التاسع عشر, the 19th exercise. It says اقرأ. Here, the verb, we just did this verb. As you can see, they give you قرأ, يقرأ, اقرأ. What does it mean? قرأ, يقرأ, اقرأ. It means to read, right? So this is a command verb. You have اقرأ. So it should be sukun here. Why did they put a kasra here? Because the problem with this book, especially this print, is there are so many typos. So you cannot think that maybe they're right, because most of the time, their haraka especially, they make a lot of typos. So why do we, yes, this is not a typo. Yes, good. So when we have, just think about this kind of situation. When you have a sukun and after that we have hamzatul wasl or alif lam. This is hamzatul wasl. I don't know if I explained to you in this class or not. When you have alif lam, this one is hamzatul wasl, the same hamza that we have here, which is the hamzatul wasl. Okay, so we said alif lam, but actually it's not alif. So think of like that. If we have sukun and then we have hamzatul wasl, then, or we have alif lam, whichever way you want to think of right now, we have to put Most of the time we put kasra. Sometimes some other haraka, dhamma or fatha, but most of the time we put kasra. اقرأ العبارة. اقرأ العبارة ومثلها بالحركة. So he is asking us to read the expression. Ibara is expressions. Okay. ومثلها بالحركة. So it's interesting, this word haraka, we've been using this word haraka so many times. What is haraka? Haraka means what? If we use it as a fatha, dhamma, kasra, right? We have a dhamma, fatha, and kasra as vowels. But this actually, it is a technical definition. When you say haraka as a vowels, the fatha, dhamma, and kasra, that is a technical definition, meaning it is not actual linguistic definition. This is not what the word actually means. We use that word for that purpose. But what is the actual meaning of the word haraka? Actual meaning of the word haraka is movement. Movement. Yes. So this is why, because what, you can think of why it makes sense, because we have a letter and we use this haraka to move the sound. Because when you have sukun, remember, sukun is not haraka. Sukun means we don't have a haraka. So we use this haraka, these symbols, what we use to move the sound. So we say sa, su, si. See, that's what they are trying to imply. But here he's using it as the linguistic definition, not as technical definition. He's not talking about the haraka, fatha, dhamma, kasra. He's talking about the movement. Basically, he's saying to imitate these expressions by movement. So for example, it says masaha ra'sahu. So he wiped his head. So in the class, you are supposed to wipe your head. Anyway, so that's what it is. I think we have gone through all of these things. I don't feel like going over them. They're exactly the way we found them in the book, including the pronoun. It's the same he pronoun. Okay, istanshaka ghasala yadayhi ila al-mirfaqain. We had all of these expressions, and I explained all of them. I can just do one example, a different kind of example. How do we say udhun is what? Udhun is, what is udhun? Ear, exactly. How do you say your ear? Your ear. So do you know the pronoun? I think we have had this pronoun in this class. What do we add? No, we add your. Your means we add kaf. Your, that's a masculine. We use kaf. Yeah is for mine. I think this book, I don't remember. I'm pretty sure this book gave you all of these pronouns. So we have ya for my, ka for your, masculine, and ki is for your feminine. I'm not going to give you all of them. I'll just add one more. Who is for his, things like that, right? So we want to say your ear, so we'll say udunuka. Udunuka. Yes, so your ear. Now I want to say your 2 ears. This is, I explained to you that this is a little bit complicated, but I mentioned it. So I'll just mention, because we learned how to say 2 ears. Somebody tell me how to say 2 ears. This book spent lots of times explaining the duals, so that you should know. So we say udhunani. Excellent. So now that we know how to say udhunani and we know how to say your 2 ears, we want to add ka. And this is where the issue happens, which I explained to you before, which is a little bit tricky. When we have dual and we have this noon, when we put them in idafa construction, like this kind of possessive phrase, we have to drop this noon. Okay, so what we'll say is udhunaka. Udhunaka. Now it means your 2 ears. Now my question, what is the object form of this word? 2 ears. This book didn't explain, but they used it, a few times, so I'll explain to you. The object form, because this is nominative form, meaning it is the Dhamma state, right? And the object form is what? Udu naini. Here's the verb is like masaha, you're wiping your two ears. If you're wiping your two ears, the ears is object, right? You're wiping something. So the ear is going to be object. So in these situations, you cannot use udunani because this is not object. This form is the subject. You have to use this form, udunaini. Okay, so now you want to say masaha. He, we don't want to say he wiped your two ears. We want to say you wiped your two ears. Okay, so how do we say you wiped? This is another exercise because guys, we don't have many pages. So this book is almost, the chapter is almost finished. So we want to do a little bit exercise. We have done this one. Masaha, he wiped. How do we say you wiped? What is the pronoun that we use? Masahta. Yes, excellent. So the pronoun is ta, because remember, there's a lot of tas, and these tas are super, super important, right? The sukun, then we have tu, then we have ta, and we have the, right? This ta is for you masculine. So you will say masahta. Excellent. Masahta. Sahta. So you wiped your two ears. Now we have two ears. Excellent, because this is in an object form, which we want. And we want to say your, which we know is kaf. Now what will happen is simply we have to follow the same rule. We have to drop this noon. We have to drop this noon. So what we'll say is udunayka. Udunayka. Make sense, guys? Masahta udunayka. You wiped your two ears. Excellent. So you see, this is not easy, especially with this sound, and there's a lot of things going on. Dropping noon is a little bit tricky, but you should know how to make dual, how to make the nominative dual and the accusative dual object form as well. Okay, and especially the verbs. Make sure you know conjugations of the verbs. Masaha, masahat, masahta, masahti, masahtu. So every verbs that we have, you should try them. Ghasala, ghasalta, ghasalti, ghasaltu, ghasalat. And you should know what this ta does. Okay. جيد. And then we have التدريب العشرون, the 20th exercise. فهم المسموع. What is مطبخ? These words are from way, way before. You should know all of them. Yes, مطبخ is kitchen. Excellent. حجرة. حجرة is a room, right? مدخل. What is مدخل? Who remembers مدخل? See, you should be able to guess few things right now because you know what dakhala is. Excellent. Yes, dakhala is to enter. And usually we use mim for making a noun from this verb. And one of the way we use the mim is to indicate the place, the place where you enter, and that is called entrance. Excellent. This timing, I don't want to start timing again. We've spent many times talking about times. Now, okay, what is qabla? This is very important word as well. We had qabla is before, right? What is the opposite of qabla? Ba'da. Excellent. Yes, ba'da. And as you can see, this word usually comes with fatha. Another thing to note that when these words come, they come as part of idafa. Okay, so the qabla and ba'da, all of them, qabla, ba'da, amama, khalfa, fawqa, they come as the first part of the idafa. So they will be mudaf. And the second part will always be mudaf ilayhi, meaning, remember our rules, Kitabu Muhammadin. That's why we have qabla sa'idin, before Sa'id, ba'da sa'idin, after Sa'id, amama sa'idin, front of Sa'id, khalfa sa'idin, behind Sa'id. No. What is this verb? This verb is important. Allama. Hmm? What is allama? Hmm? Allama is not quite. Okay, so that's good. I'm writing, the reason why I'm writing this one is good. خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. علمه. Okay, the reason why I'm writing this one, because a lot of people get confused. Looks like all of you are, because I got 3 answers for this word, and that's why I wrote this. One answer was the meaning of allama is to teach. Someone says to know, and someone said to learn. And as you can see, this is the one thing that you don't want to do. In the beginning, if you think, because what happens when you say ayn, lam, and mim, yes, you kind of conceptually understand without paying too much attention to the haraka. That is the issue that I explained before. You have to pay attention to the haraka. Otherwise, as you can see, this word can, with the haraka, things can change. So here the Prophet ﷺ said, this is one of the most famous hadith, خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. So here is the verb that we have. So let's start with this one. The know is come from alima. Alima is to know. If alima is to know, he knew. What is the present tense? Who can quickly give me? I don't have too much time. Who can quickly give me? Ya'lamu. Excellent. How do you know? This is magic. No, you can use my 90% guess. Because in the past tense, we have a kasra. The present tense will have a fatha. So, ya'lamu. Okay? Ya'lamu. Excellent. So, alima is to know. And when you have this shadda in the middle, allama, it is to make someone else know. Okay, so alima is to know, and with the shadda, you're saying you're making someone know. So what does it mean? It's to teach. That's how you make someone know, right? So now you have this make someone know, and if you put the ta before, let me put it this way, to know, making someone know means to teach. And when you do that teaching to yourself, and this ta represents that, what are you doing? If you're teaching yourself, you're doing what? You're learning. So this is how the learning comes. It's amazing how they make a new word from the simple 3-letter verbs. So alima is to know, allama is to make someone know, meaning to teach. And when you teach that thing to yourself, then you're doing what? You're learning. So what Prophet ﷺ said, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنِ. Best of you is who learned the Quran. Here we have a fatha because this is the object. Wa allamahu. And then you teach it. 2 things you have to do. You have to learn and you have to teach. The order has to be maintained, and just having one of them is not sufficient. Just learning it, this is selfish. You're not teaching anybody. You're good, but you're not the best. Khair here means the best. Okay? So the best among you who learns the Quran and the teaches. It could be that you're teaching someone, the whatever little things you know, but then you stop learning. The learning never ends. More you learn, you will be more humble that how less you know. So this hadith is, it's very profound in many, many different ways. Okay. So, okay, Jayed, I have few more minutes. What is sa'ala? What is the verb sa'ala? Sa'ala is to ask. Yes, excellent. Okay. And then we're done. The last one, what they're asking is uktub kalimatil adhan. Write the words of the adhan. Okay, so basically they want you to write the whole adhan. How to say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. But the issue is, I think the next chapter, that's precisely what they do. They have the whole adhan. So I'll leave this one. We don't have to do this one in here, inshallah. When we do the next unit or the next lessons, we can analyze this adhan.